Hi, I'm going to show you today how to shorten your paddle. We've had a lot of people request lately to, they want to shorten a paddle. It's a little too long and they've changed their mind. They're trying to go shorter. So I'm going to walk you through that real quickly. This is a paddle that is 85 inches long. First you need to measure how long your paddle is, 85. If you've already determined how much shorter you want it, let's say we're going to shorten it by just an inch or two. If you're going to shorten it by just an inch or two, we're going to try and remove the handle. If you're going to shorten it more than, this is the original handle that goes in here. This is a P40 grip, which is pretty popular for most of our paddles. You can see there's about 2 3/4 inches of stem inside of here. So if you're going to shorten it any less than 2.5 inches or 2 3/4 inches, then you're going to need to remove the handle first. To remove the handle from your existing paddle, you're going to use a heat gun. This is a Ryobi brand from Home Depot. You're going to want to heat this up much hotter than the touch. If it's 130 degrees or hotter, you're not going to want to hold your hand there very long and you'll burn it. But you want to be careful not to heat it up so much to where you are going to heat it over 250 degrees, because these are cured at about a 250 degree temperature when we make the shafts. Also be careful, you see I'm not heating the EVA wrapped handle. You want to keep the heat away from that. I'm just heating the 2.5 inches below the bottom end of the handle. Alright, get that nice and hot. That's pretty hot. Use a wet rag so you don't burn your hand. Give it a big old twist. Yep, and sometimes you can just get them off depending on what kind of glue was used and who glued it for you, but see how this one was able to come right off. Then we're just going to shorten it an inch, 2 inches, whatever you want to shorten it. Sand the inside of your shaft. Clean this up and sand the outside of this when it cools down. You can pour cool water over that just to get it to cool off, and then dry it off with a rag. Then sand it with 80 grit sandpaper. Sand the inside of your shaft. And then we just use 5-minute epoxy to put it back together, or you can use a hot glue gun, like an industrial grade hot glue, if you think you want to play around with it some more. Then it'll be much easier to remove it the next time. So if you can't get your handle off with the heat gun, plan B is to order a replacement handle, an extra handle from us. And we have a lot of extra scrap pieces that are cut off from paddles we size for customers. We can send you a 5-inch piece of shaft, which will bond the new handle in like this, and then a connecting ferrule tube, which is made from the same shaft as our flyweight series paddles, which we usually have pieces of this on hand. And you're going to bond those two together, and then you're going to splice this new section into your paddle 2 inches shorter, okay? So if you can't take the handle off, this is plan B. So what you're going to want to do, let's say you're going to shorten your paddle 2 inches. This piece is 5 inches long. You're going to shorten it an additional 7 inches from here. And you're going to make a mark right here where you're going to cut your shaft, okay? You can mark it with tape, like this. You can get it with a hacksaw, or we usually cut it on the chop saw. Okay, now we're ready to glue it together. One of these fancy thumb sanders on a drill. If you don't have that, you can use regular sandpaper, where you just sand inside your shaft end with 80 grit. You're going to sand inside both ends of your connecting shaft that you're going to splice in. You want to rough up the inside so that you get a good bond. And then you're going to rough up the outside of your ferrule tube. Then we use 5-minute epoxy like this. Make sure you mix it really well. Start by putting the handle into your connector tube first. Get a generous amount in here. Generous amount in here. You're going to want some on your ferrule tube. Be sure to put epoxy in both ends. You can put that there. I take my rubber glove off so that I don't get epoxy on my handle. And have some tissues on hand to wipe it. Nice and clean. You can let that dry and then bond your piece in. Be sure to put more epoxy into the tube. Pull it back off. And make sure you give it a good spin. Oops, see how that's coming out. You can take some masking tape, clean off one side. That's a good sign. When it pushed back out, that means you got it airtight. You can use a piece of masking tape to hold it together, like so, while you wipe the rest of it. Then be sure to lay this on a table with your blade to make sure everything's all lined up nice and straight.